10 minutes before midnight. Monday night, which is like Tuesday. So this is the original account. I started with 5,000, took it down to about 3,000. Started trading with the Ryan bot. Ryan bot got in really heavy. Like, if I go by size, it traded bigger than I did. And I went to a big size because I saw a new low on the weeklies, so I just got in real heavy for the scalp. But the Ryan bot got in at 34 and made 155 bucks. And all the big trades it did, that's the biggest winners it had. It sold and it bought, and it got clobbered here, 160. There was some pretty big hits there. 23K in the wrong direction. 257 bucks. Two of those. That's almost 500 bucks. So you look at the size that people trade at. Well, this robot, like I said, I would never trade the way the Ryan bot's trading because I don't want to take a $257 hit on one ticket. I'd rather at least lose 125 bucks and retain 150 of that trade through some kind of, all right, so maybe I'm not in 80K, I'm only in 20K, but I've got other limits pending, and we're going to hit those. I'm going to turn around there. So, right now, the trade is to put sell limits above because I'm not going to buy now. It's ridiculous. The auction's over, right? We've already gone down here, right? Came after this slob who had his stop here. This is Sunday night. If you bought this 10 pip window on the dollar yen, well, you are now a stop hunter. You're a range trader. You're a supply and demand guy. This is the supply or demand window. Now you just got to sell up into this. And for how long? So I say let's give it 4 hours. I'm going to boldly start selling right here just so psychologically I feel like, okay, I'm in a trade. I'll be in a trade without even getting at the market. I almost guarantee they're going to take that higher. And since this account has $28,000 in it, I'm just going to go and put in another rack in a 10 pip window. Does that sound right? That look right? That looks like more than 10 pips. Maybe I got this script written wrong. Maybe it's 20 pips. Let me see. It should be right in a 10. This broker literally just goes offline. So we got another few K supposed to come in there. Maybe it is a 10. Here, let me put in another currency. So I've been running this script exclusively, the 4 hour script, because this is just easy trading. I mean, you're asking the market to come down here in 4 hours to here. We're offline or something. Here we go. Yeah, so that's like a 10 pip window, right? Let me put it right on the 10 handle. So where I drop that cursor should be the first ticket. We should get a 6K going here. The broker just sucks. I guess at this time of night, nobody's trading. This is 5 minutes before midnight. Every fucking robot in the world's getting on this shit. Okay, so here, let me delete these objects and do it again. I'm waiting for this bullshit broker. Can't even get a tick to get the grid to come on. In the euro yen. I mean, in the euro dollar, there's no trading at this broker. Like nobody trades at this shit pile. Look at the market's moving and it still can't. Here we go. Right on the 10. Here we go. Yeah. I guess it looked like more. I guess it is 1 pip, a little 1 pip beyond maybe. But on the top side, we got to sell up here. Got to sell up there. We're going up there. And even if we don't, we got to get up there in 4 hours. You're giving this thing you create your own auctions. So this is better than level whatever trading, because here you just create your own levels. 2 hours, right? So this is very aggressive. In 2 hours, the market has to drop wherever I drop this cursor tip. So that's going to be the trick. Okay, so we're kind of just paused here in Doji land. We're really not going anywhere. Definitely, you want to sell up here beyond this wick. So today's trade was to sell anything above this triple wick. Okay, so that was for the scalp. Then sell even more when you take out this wick, right? So it's 10 pip window, make 40 pips. Then you got to get out though. So you got to start getting out as soon as they take this wick out, as soon as they take this low out, this wick low. You got to get out. You could be getting in there. So it's a big rope-a-dope constantly. People are constantly getting smashed to bits because they take out this high. This is the seller's window. The easy reversal. Just to make 20 pips, you could have made 20 to here. They come after this deep low on the 1 hour. As they come after it because there's probably some trend trader out there. This is the, whatever they call it, the straw man or whatever. Some guys say, oh, you got my trend line here. And actually, the sellers be here. I pull back to the break out of the trend line in Goober Trading 101. But then are you betting the ranch on that? Did you sell a $5 million position? This would be the question. Next question, if you're going to go down that road, is, let me guess, you sold like everything in the world here, and then you're waiting for the drop. Sold here, and you're waiting for it to take this out, and actually you're going to wait till it takes this out, and then you're going to buy it back, and then at least scalp to there. And then some people always have these charts they do where they're like, well, it's going to go like this, like this, like this, like this. I'm like, well, you could literally trade every zigzag if you figure that's how it's going to go. Here, all you had to do was, if you were a trend trader and you thought it was going up, every hour it's pulling back, you buy at the market a little bit. And then you could put in your confirmation buy stops. And you could also buy on limits. So you'd have, if you did a cancel replace on each one of these tickets and made the ticket get bigger because you're getting a triangle, so you start to load up before it's either going to melt down up. It's either going to melt down or go up. There's not a lot of choices here. Or go sideways and torture everybody. So it's almost midnight here, so we're going to complete this 1 hour chart, this 1 hour bar. I think we're going to pop up now. We could pop up. So I wouldn't buy here because I got so many sells above me that, wow, it's just set it and forget it trading, really. I mean, you could buy here, but what if it plunges? I'd rather buy if it plunges heavily. So anytime it's ripping down, it's hard to buy it when it's ripping down like this move here. If you're watching it happen, I suppose. So if you put a buy limit below this low and you're watching this thing tank, you're like, oh God, this is great. It's going to come and fill my buy limit. And you see it rip down and you buy here, but you really don't get anything but like a a little bounce, and then now it just keeps on dripping down. But meanwhile, the buy stops are stacking up from all the bear programs, and plus you have this vacuum just naturally itching to be filled, so to speak. And at the top of that, I kind of have to turn off all these tickets to see the wicks, I suppose. Let me just hit these tickets. So I just go to properties and say, do not show me the volumes, which is the entry prices only. There you go. It's like a normal chart almost. Well, you can still see got to change the trade levels now. That's the problem. Foreground's got to be a little tamer. Okay, so now we can see the wicks. So this big run up here, this is the befuddling thing about it, is that there are trends here on the 1 hour chart, but let's face it, there's plenty of places to get on that so-called trend in ways that wouldn't make sense to people looking at the moving averages. But if you think about rate of change is in terms of, this is a 10 pips from here to here. So 1 hour, you dropped almost 20 pips from close to close. And then here, this is screaming. This is 40 pips in 1 hour. But part of the scream is created by this. And there's a damn good scalp here with a 20 pip stop to make 20 pips right on the dead cat bounce before the drip down and so you want a market like this that's being manipulated. You don't want a market that's going to be of course this is a tight spread. The British pound's moving twice as hard as this. So when you go trade the British pound or the guppy, you can't just throw in these scripts. Like, you can't be thinking like, well, I'm going to just sell every 10 pips this drops. Okay, maybe, but you better have a bunch of fucking money in the account, because you're just going to, you got to be getting into a standard lot by here. Yeah, maybe. So you buy 10K, 20, 30, 40. So this martingaling in, you've got to have like gobs of money. So you got to be ready to get in here at 500K. Well, you're not ready. The ticket's sitting there, right? So 500K, 400, 300, one standard lot, right? So market drops. And in the right day, it might drop that far. So we can all find these places on the chart where we say, man, look at this. It can drop that rate. Like if you go to the 4 hour chart and these 4 hour swings. So this kind of trading here, going from the 1 hour to the 4 hour, what's a different trade plan? It's a deeper time. You can just barely see Sunday night here. So I'm going to just mark it. So there's Sunday night, right? So there's Sunday night. Now, I don't know if you bought into this thing, but I bought into this over the weekend. And it's a perfect climax to the end of this channel. So it's also just exquisitely another trap, right? This is the auction price floor. Anytime it comes down in this, you have to buy it if you're a range trader. And 80% of the market's ranging. I know it's going down, right? I know if you sold here and you got out here, but who the fuck? You got time for that? This is a 4 hour chart. I mean, I guess so, but we all know this exists, this price. And then this is where you're buying the 5 standard lots, and here you're only buying 3 standard lots. But every time you buy like that, if you bought this wick, you got to get out here, right? Because that's what it's slamming. That's what that wick is caused by, is when it came down and filled that. Then it's just off to the races, and it even goes up to here eventually without even looking back. So it's just like this raid to this price. Then it makes it here eventually. Then another raid here. So these are like the mini vacs that you would, sure, it's in a downtrend if you're waiting for it to come back to this trend line and close, right? And then it finally cracks it. Because this looming wedge of no price, okay, it's 5 after. There's also this. So we're going to sell up here. I'm going to sell heavily above here, and then this is all Sellville for just pendings. You just place and walk away. Nothing's going to change this price, ever. If you didn't draw your Gartley where it's supposed to go, then you fucked up. It's just about price. There is no Gartley to be drawn. I mean, you could probably force a Gartley or a fib, but there's nothing that can touch the reality. This low is taken out. This low is taken out. You could have bought those lows and be up in the trade right now. The trade was to buy all this shit. Or if you were short here from this trap, you had to get the fuck out. Because on closing prices, it's like it never happened, but it sure as hell did. If you weren't really big here, you would notice that on your equity. Just that up and down ride. So that could be 300. If those all standard lots, if it's just 3 standard lots down here, by the time it comes back to the floor, you're out of the whole trade. So the whole trade's over by that wick, maybe. And if you were short from here, you're saying, well, this is just a corrective phase. I'm going to hold on. Dude, you'd missed out on getting out here. So that's why I just complain like this. I haven't heard this Karen girl, but apparently I'm Karen. So I'm just befuddled and mind blown. It's like these morons with the toilet paper. Dude, it's toilet paper. It'll be okay. It's coming back. Like, yeah, if you bought here because you're like, yeah, man, look at this run. It's going to break out and keep going. Could you psychologically come in and buy more when it's going down? You're like, oh, shit. So I guess when you get whipsawed is because you start selling here on confirmation because you get it in golf, so you sell. And then it goes down, you're doing good, right? And it comes ripping up and you're like, damn, I mean, what the fuck? Because it's coming into this hole, right? Is it not? Into this deep discount. And it just gets all trapped up in there. And then there's pressure here, the vacuum above. Plus all the breakout systems algos come in. Think of 3 algos running here. There's always 3 algos running. Range, breakout, and trend. There's nothing else there. I know people want to focus on the trend, but if this is breaking out into this hole to the downside, that's your trade, but you got to be aware of the other people here. You don't have to wear a mask when trading. You can just walk through the place and go, yeah, I see you're in the aisle. Who the fuck's ever going down an aisle with these fucking morons in these carts anyways? Honey, you're on a cart with a mask. You're so fucking obese, you shouldn't even be in here. You're shaming everybody. Don't get me started on the corona thing. So I'm surviving but I refuse to wear a mask, so come spit down my throat. I can't take it anymore. But I'm noticing the market reminds me of people. And these so-called institutional traders, they got their head up their ass. They just keep running the market up and down. Don't they know what they want? So you wonder, what is the point? Where's the final destination? Are we going up here? Are we going to go down here? And then it's going to start all over again. It's just never ending. So if you're going to trade the market and only be in it for 4 hours or 8 hours, it's completely different than if you're going to get in here, sell this bitch at last week. This is the last Sunday. This is this Sunday. You're going to sell it here. This is the climax into Tuesday. And just hold this thing through all of this, up and down. I mean, this is a lot of pips. I don't think I can do it. I can't watch equities swing like that. No, it's forex. It's a 24-hour market. That's why the 4-hour chart. But I guess that's how you trade it, right? Because people say, oh, I went to the 4-hour chart. Yeah, you're less trading, less signals. That's the beauty of it. No matter what system you're trading, it's not going to give you very many setups. The 1-hour chart is, you really have to be awake. The 4-hour chart, you could sit back and put in stacks of tickets at key levels and just come and wake up with money in the account, or you got stopped out of whatever you risked. Whatever, you're either going to blow up the account because you put too many tickets in for the account. But here I wouldn't have a problem saying, well, okay, let's sell up here. I've already got tickets up here, but let's just do it again for kicks. I'd sell up here. Or I can take it right to this wick, which I know this is the supply-demand zone here. I should turn on those colors, just make them so they're not so dark. So the volume is going to be the entry price. Let's make them whatever the color that is. Okay, that's my entry price. So here I don't care about the stops because break-even tickets, 4-hour risk. I'm up $2 on something here. Okay, so the British pound. I bought that on a pullback. I think it's going up more. So it's pretty crazy. It looks like there's going to be this huge run-up on the just to poke into this price here, and then we're gonna sell into that. So I'm long into this short. That's the other thing. If you're flat, waiting for a fill on limits, it's all right. So you could get into the market here, but I'm just tired. I'm tired of I just want to get this. I know what's going to happen. Market's going to go up and down. So I just not going to get at the market because if I wanted to buy at the market, I'd just buy like 2 pips deep, 2 to 8 pips deep. Because if I get at the market, I know that it's going to go down because they know that I know that I pulled the trigger as soon as they see my ticket come in. There's a lot of people that want to rush my orders, I can sense it. So I'll buy and I'll see, oh, damn. And it goes down as soon as I buy it. I know. So I know it's not me, it's them. But just to trick them, I thought I'll just put in limits. This way, every time I have the thought I'm going to pull the trigger, because now it's getting to the point where when I have the thought I'm going to buy, I notice the market goes down. And I'm like, damn, they're getting good. I mean, this Illuminati fucks. But, I'm going to zoom out. So here's the 5-minute view. So if I really was thinking, oh, man, I can't wait to buy this thing, I'm going to go 2 hours and I'm going to go right here. Like, why would I buy at the market? You really don't think they could pull that back down there? That's the 5-minute chart. Look at this double bottom on the 5-minute chart. Now, if you are awake for this trade, I get it. That's a great fucking double bottom. But you got to babysit this chart, this 5-minute chart. Look at this thing run. Look at this thing just come fucking fall apart here. So I'm short this thing up in here. And I watched this last run up here. And I see them filling me on the limits. And I'm like, yeah, you fuckers. And then as soon as it got to here, I knew that this was not going to be where the buyers came in. The scalpers came in there, just like they do on other time frames. And they get their little bounce, and then that's it. And then it's bye-bye. So I watched this melt down. And here's the half-hour chart. So this is your sell window. Now, it doesn't look like much, but if you're selling up there, you're selling the top of like way back here on some 2-hour chart or something. There must be a little ledge here. I can't see it here. So the time frame matters too. So if I go to the 1 hour, I can't see this. The 4 hour just looks like, huh? There's no setup. But on the 1 hour, you can see I could buy every hour it's down, and that's a completely logical trade. So if you're trading at the market on the 1 hour chart, that's a certain style or supposed trading. It's a momentum, I figure, because you're waiting for something to happen. At the end of the hour, if it's down, you buy. So if you bought with that scheme, any pullback you're buying. Now, the bigger the pullback, the wider the stop. So if you bought here, you got to put in at least a 20 pip stop. It dropped 10. If it drops 20, maybe you got to put in a bigger stop. And I'm not sure. I guess after this down, that was it. We went up. So I have to go to the half hour just to make sure that if I pulled the trigger. Now the half hour chart, you're gonna trade more. So here you would have nailed it and bought this with a tight stop, and then you buy this with a wide stop. So in half an hour, you drop 30 pips in a half an hour. So you'd buy here with a wide stop. At least a 30 pip stop to make 30 pips because the markets are ripping. This is a trend trade. If you're buying this shallow pullback with a tight stop, you're kind of doing a trend trade because you're trying to get the doji, which is the quiet pullback. And here's the last doji before you pop above this, but then you can't really touch that trade. You kind of have to ride it because if you start adding here, you're adding in the 10 pip high of the day. Not a good place to be selling into Asia. So when the market closes, I can change background color again. I can't see it. So these colors are a problem too. Messing with the colors always a big pain in the ass. All right, so I kind of want to change the foreground here so I can see the close of the day. Okay, so if you're in the 1 hour chart here, so this is the first, this is like 7:30 at night. Kind of hard to see. So right here, this is like 5 p.m. And then about here is about 7:38. Smash down. If you're just looking at pip windows, like this is 20 pips. Of course, when it gets to here, this is where you have to really buy more because it's the deeper low. It just crushes in and rips out of that hole. Now, you could have either gone either way on that trade, or you could have gone around turn on that, but it's a little hard if you're short on that to turn around and load the wagon in the other direction. May be a little tactically difficult, because if you just got done selling your life savings here just for this move, if you start loading in the long direction because you've already satisfied that hole, and then it comes ripping back, and then definitely going to go flat, right? Like, I don't think at this time of night, this thing could blow through this. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe it could, but when you saw that happen, this is about 10 o'clock at night, 9:30, and you go, wow, that was crazy. And, of course, the same could be said for this move back here where it's just out of control, right? Now, in the half-hour world, this is vicious down move, but like I said, if you have the buy limits here and you're scalping to the floor, which those people did on the half-hour wick, in 1 half hour, they just made 20 pips in a half an hour because the market slammed down like here. If you got buy limits up in here, That thing slams down and up. You just made 10 pips with a 7 pip stop there in half an hour or less, maybe. Even here, if you only scalp to the floor, so if you bought everything in here and you got out, that was your whole trade. Just keep doing that trade. Just like if you sold this and when it got to here, you got out. But yes, of course, there is the trend trade, so to speak, where, okay, your moving averages, you want to trade an 8-period moving average, 5. It starts to turn up here. You start buying pullbacks. You got a top, become a bottom, you buy. But these wicks could crush you if you're trading really tight stops. But then you still got to get out of your trades by here because you're coming back to this big deal, and this is the wedge that you expect the market to just shear through that, and then not much of a pullback there. But the 10 pips the 10 or 15, 20 pips that you get there is pretty high probability pips. Like when they go up here to there and then it rips back, it's still 20 pips. And the high probability comes from taking this high out, right? And then one more plunge. And now I'm going to buy in limits all the way down here because all I want to do now is range trade it in kind of a stupid, just a noisy up and down until London opens. And if it takes this out, then I do buy heavy in here and then exit here for the first portion. I don't know where the final destination is though. So I wouldn't want to care about that. So because if you look at the 4-hour chart, so if you go to the 4-hour chart, you might make assumptions about that final destination and say, yeah, I could see us being up here above this wick only to sell and cash out of something coming back off of that. Or we're going to take this wick out, right? There's only 2 things going on there that could happen that are just, people just go, well, fuck, if it takes this out, you probably have goobers buying into the break out of that wick. The one thing that's written in stone right now for the next 4 hours is that until 1 o'clock in the morning, which is about 35 minutes away, this range here is so big from here to here. That is so many pips that if you're putting a buy stop here and a sell stop there, wow. Good luck with that. I don't know. I guess you could. I guess, but if you do that, if you put a sell stop here and a buy stop here, where's your stop for those entries? Forget, you got to consider this and this, anything up in here in this round number, sellers galore. So if you're going to wait for it to come up here to sell, or are you going to just buy here at the market a little bit and then just buy every hour it pulls back? Or like what I did here was for the next 4 hours, I'm literally buying any pullback into here. Because if they re-wick the wick, so the market will do that, right? Like here is a wick and you think, wow, that thing's just going to the moon. No, they come down here. So if you're buying that whole plunge, yeah, this ticket's going to go underwater, this first part of the rack, but eventually becomes a winner, and that's why you have to buy heavier, bigger positions down here. So really counterintuitive. It goes against human nature to sell these, but once you get used to the feeling, it's like counter steering. You have to steer into the thing that you're going to hit. So at this point, I'm definitely think once we get above here, there will be drama for heavy sellers. For the easy scalp to here, that would be the first part of that story. And having tickets that last 2 to 4 hours, and then of course down here 12 hours, and down here all day. And if we ever get below here again, So if you're waiting for it to come down here before you buy it, you might be waiting kind of a long time. If you're waiting for it to go up here before you sell it, you're still going to have to wait until maybe Wednesday. So maybe by Wednesday, we're cutting into this price or cutting into this. So the market can cut in, into certain prices. And then it cuts out. So it comes, so this vacuum here, once it sweeps into that, it's satisfied, then kaboosh. It's just amazing. The swings in this markets are brutal. If you were buying below this low and heavily below here, look at how far, if you held through that whole thing, it's just ransacked. Now, so if you're able to make those 10 to 20 pips, you're still making money, even though this looks untradeable to most people. With the idea of buying new lows like that, now the new lows keep coming up frequently like they did here, and these are perfectly good trades, if only for this noise, right? Sure, you'd eventually want to have some of this position hold on through the whole swing. So if you sold in here for the scalp to here, you let some of the tickets ride until here. So this is the first time, and of course, taking this high out and this high out was why this pulled back so hard, and then this will have a huge reaction off of here. So it's more than you can imagine. So it's hard to imagine, and now that I'm running these limits like this, I would add to my sells at the market here. So if this came down, and that's another reason why you want to have a market order available, because say you put buy limits in here, but you didn't put enough in, and you're like, oh, fuck. And you go, yeah, I think I see what's going on here. This is going to probably rip back at least to here, and without chasing it, though, because otherwise you just have the limits have to do. The whole point of that is that you plan the trade out, and the market's just going to go like dominoes through your dominoes. Market's going to knock them down, knock down all your tickets. You have to let it go through that phase, So here the British pound, I'm selling up into, I think we're going to go higher here. Hard to believe, but if we do, we don't have to, because if we go lower, I'll make money too. Or at least I'll be getting into a trade. I don't know if I make money, but I know the trade I'd be in. So here, I think below this low, and this is the same kind of setup as the euro, we're just in a different stage of the larger structure, but anything above here is a sell. Anything below here is a buy, but heavier buys down here. But I think this will be a big sell window here. I don't know if we can go zooming through that. So you have to estimate, what do you think the chance of us crushing into certain zones are, and how fast you think we could do it? The air gets pretty thin up here. I don't have tickets up here yet. So if I was to place those, I'd make these last all day, because all day long, this is ripe for the selling. For a pullback to here or even here, and ideally back to here, because we know this high exists. So we already set up that trade plan. On the buy side, I am buying aggressively here in a 2 to 4 hour basis. So if we ever get below here, wow, people will be buying the pound like it's just like they can't get enough. It'd be like, all right, come on. Anything below here and then massively down in here. Huge buyers. But then again, huge sellers up here, and we're kind of these sellers, the people that sold there, they've already cashed out of the scalp, and we're kind of just sitting here in this kind of trend trader's entry where it's drifting back, people are buying, anticipating one more new high for the week. Keep crushing north. And, scalpers like me are sitting with limits down here every 10 pips until London opens. So if we get the sell-off, we typically get a sell-off into London. I want to get in scalps here and just make the easy money or the high probability money. Because you could take a position anywhere in these markets with big tickets. And you could say stuff like, well, fuck. This shallow up, I'm selling with a very tight stop, very big position. Low dollar risk here. Slight up, selling. I think we're going to take this low out. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. And you'd be right. But getting in at the market on the drift up on the 4 hour, a little different than, sure, you could put a sell stop here and one ticket and you're in, but then, I don't know, you have to see yourself in that trade. You really got to imagine it. So here's here's Bitcoin. I actually have a Bitcoin script I wrote, well, only one of them. Took a hard time to think of it. I actually had to put some ridiculous targets in here. So this is a 2-hour Bitcoin script. And don't ask me how much money that's risking, but it's getting in a $10 window. And it looks like it's got a big fat stop. Take profits where we're at right now, so I don't think that's a very good placement. This would be better. Exiting where we're at now, anticipating we're going to come down and come flying back. Here's what I think we're going to sell into the dollar yen tonight. So I'm going to put these daily orders in because I don't want to babysit this. And I'm going to sell all the way up into this pocket. And then I'll put the 10Ks in. And this is going to be a wider stop and a wider take profit. The one up here, I just put in a 25 pip stop to make 36. So now I'm going to put in some bad ratios. Risk $10 to make $5. So we can pay for some of the dead cat ceiling bounces because not everything I drop is going to be a winner. So, but this is a higher probability we'll make our 17 pips here with a 11 pip stop. Here's a 15 pip stop to make 17. So those are all 1Ks here. So Bitcoin, I got to make sure I don't drop it there. I don't know if it'll take it. So this is the euro versus the yen. And when you first look at the chart, it should be kind of obvious. We're going to put our order on this top because we think they're going to take out that top. It's going to tops become bottoms, but I think they're going to go deeper. Then I'm going to sell above the 100-yard line there for 15 pips above. So I'll buy down here, I guess. I don't really trade all these currencies like this. It's just not worth it because I'd rather put in a real focused ticket on the euro or the pound. So I'd rather get in like super heavy on something that, like when you go trade the dollar yen and the euro to the yen, it's a lot to keep track of. Here it's easy. You get a focused, put bigger size on stuff you can see. I couldn't trade all those things people do. I tried. Like, oh, they're trading this, they're trading that. I'm like, oh, dude. Just this. Look at this dollar yen chart. It's a lot to take in. You got to imagine the market smashing up into this supply zone. I can imagine it. So I'd let that go. But it's just another thing to worry about. Like here, I'd buy down here just the same. I wouldn't put any different. It's going to be a good buy if it comes down. It's a good buy down there. Wouldn't you buy down there if it came down there? I can't think why you wouldn't. It's a buy low, sell high game, so that's how that goes. Let's see. Where are we at? So to make it look a little bit more, looks like it's going to tank. Look at that. So looks like I'm going to get filled here. See, trading at the market is just too tough. And I'm in a winning hedge on this other demo that I opened because I didn't have any scripts, so I immediately put limits above, limits below, and the Bitcoin is up. I'm up like $3,000 locked in because I just never got out of the trade. So it's a winning. It's locked in a winning trade, unless I start adding something to the other leg and ruin the hedge. It's kind of bizarre. I opened the account the other day and I'm like, look at this thing. This Falcon FX thing I'm running, which I'm on Hugo's Way right now, which I think is the same broker. The Bitcoin feeds the exact same prices. But Hugo's letting me put an immense amount. Here we go, getting filled here on the Euro finally. So 5 minutes after the bottom of the hour, there's a lot of action. I don't know why. 5 minutes after the top and bottom of the hour, it's like a big deal. And 5 minutes before, and then there's this big resolve. I guess it's because the 5 minute algorithms or traders are in there, and the half hour guys. And the news comes out in the half hour, so you're kind of like, getting this punctuation every half hour. 48 bars. 24-hour market. And certainly if you can wait half an hour to get paid or wait an hour and a half, which would be 3 bars, it's certainly worth the wait, I suppose. And of course, the size you'd be able to trade bigger size. Could you run tighter stops on the half hour? So here I'm just looking for another replunge if it comes back to here. So that's that. And I'm going to go back to sleep.